Hi, this is Shane with the Rational Trader, and what we're doing is we're looking at, we're really continuing the discussion from yesterday about introducing change carefully. And in machine learning, there is a concept called hyperparameter grid searching. And a hyperparameter is it's one of these knobs or dials that you can turn to get the system to behave the way that you want. Okay, and so it's sort of outside the system, and that's why they don't just call it a parameter. All right, so we're doing something similar here with the current market conditions, which are just incredibly volatile. And so kind of the decision that I made over the last couple days is, rather than try to embed in the machine models themselves this behavior, let's control it externally, and this will allow us to adjust until things get back to normal. What I don't want to do is optimize for this crazy environment and then not be in a good shape once the markets go back to normal, because they will. I mean, it may not seem like they will, but they always do, and they will. And so we want to be ready for that when that happens. And so what we're doing here is we're looking at different methods of filtering. All right, and so what I did is I took the model we use now, sort of the known good model, and I did a search on two different kinds of filtering mechanisms. Okay, and I have pages and pages of notes here filled with those results, and I got to a point where I felt like I had something optimal for the current conditions. Okay, all of which are externally applied, mind you. So let's keep that in mind. And so that I can give to my members to say, look, these are some parameters that you can use to trade this. Though the reality is the markets are volatile enough, you probably shouldn't be trading at all. I'm looking at this as an awesome R&D opportunity. Okay, and so then what I did is, having these sort of optimal parameters, I then started very carefully adding data to the models. And so we're actually looking at, that's what's on screen right now, is we're looking at one addition of data to the model, and then another one that's an additional addition, and then another one that's a third. And so I'm just kind of walking through carefully, looking at each of those to see, using these optimized hyperparameters, which one is going to, which one do we actually see improvement. This is actually a mistake that I made coming into the week, where I'd made a lot of changes over the weekend in preparation for a release later this week to support breakouts and to make the server more resilient and handle some error checking better, a few other things. And I had also made changes to give me more data from the Sierra chart system in order to try to deal with the volatility that we're seeing in the machine learning models themselves. And my problem is I did a great job testing technically how all the pieces fit together, and making sure that we found any bugs and took care of those. But then I started the week with just assuming that all of this extra data I was collecting was good, and I should just use that. So I had built models using all of this data, and then really I don't know how good it is. And what I saw was I had members using the existing model doing fairly well, whereas I was getting crushed this week. And I realized I really had made a rather foolish mistake. It's kind of a rookie error, or rather, it's a very human error where we tend to assume that any change that we make will have a positive impact is one problem. And the second problem is that we think that because we came to a logical conclusion that conclusion is correct. And neither case is true. That's what we have to test it. And so what we have now is a tool that allows us to test it, but I have to use the tool. And so in my enthusiasm to get as much done as I could quickly, I went a little too fast with the models, and I'm now fixing that. And so this is what we're doing now is screen 1 here is adding one piece of information to the known good model. Screen 2 is adding 2 new pieces of information, building upon the first one. And then screen 3 here is adding 3. All right, now it's very human for us to think that, okay, well, more is better, but you can see, at least so far here this is running on Monday, on Monday of this week. You can see those so far. The one with the most is not doing the best. It's kind of not what you would expect, right? More information is better, right? And so it's worth testing to see exactly how things work out. Now, having said that, we're up to 8 o'clock in the morning here. Using the models that I built over the weekend for myself, the ones that had basically all the data in it, put it into a blender and spit it out of the machine learning system. I got crushed quick this week. It was one of those, when it's super volatile like this, you either are just getting hammered right away, or you've got a chance to make a whole lot. The way the week models in general, or plays out in general, is Monday was really rough, Tuesday could be enormously profitable, and Wednesday was pretty rough again. And so what I'm seeing here so far is that Monday looks tough here for two of these additions, right? And one of them's, it's okay, it's alive, okay? Whereas literally this week, I was getting whacked pretty quickly. The markets are they're so thin right now and so volatile. And so what we'll see here now is I'm going to speed this up so that it finishes sooner. And this is also a nice stress test of the system. And then we'll get this, I'll get an answer here, and then I can make a decision tomorrow morning whether I'll just use the known good model with these optimized parameters that I've come up with, or if I should, maybe use one of these other additions here. All right, so that's what we'll see. That's what tomorrow will bring. In any case, the current plan for release schedule is to get the new server out that supports breakouts, and there's a number of other features in there that are kind of needed, but to not make major changes or any changes at all to the models. We'll just continue with the current model architecture until we get some more testing in. I really want to make sure that I don't optimize for this environment and then hurt myself later on. I'm not interested necessarily so much in trying to make money in this crazy, unpredictable environment. I'm much more interested in a reliable system for the long haul.